It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com from the latest release from Testament, from the Brotherhood of the Snake. That is The Pale King. And opening up the show, probably one of my favorite tunes from Pantera, from the Far Beyond Driven, with I'm Broken, and a guy who's mending from being broken last week. Our good friend and partner, Chris Aiken. What's going on, Chris?
I'm much better this week.
You must be. I think you look from the looks of your Facebook post last night. It looks like you were really ripping it up.
Wow. Yeah. I will admit I'm still feeling some of that right now. But.
Well, I can't imagine doing straight shots of Jack and singing silly rap songs and tearing up the pussy, or grabbing her by the pussy, as our next president used to say.
I didn't say that I did that. I just said that I drank a lot.
Well, usually drinking a lot is followed by grabbing the pussy if some is available.
Well, it's definitely not a bad theory, but no, I drank a ton.
All right.
We were drinking. We started, and you know me, I always mix, and for whatever reason, I decided to man up and not be a child, and was drinking just whiskey on the rocks for a while.
Okay.
So I was drinking that for a while. Then I just pussed out and went to the Jack and Cokes. But so then I was drinking Jack and Cokes while we were doing shots of whatever the Jack Daniels version of Fireball is. I don't know what that's called, but it's got a red label.
Okay.
So we're doing shots and then chasing it with mixed drinks.
All right.
So yeah, it got quite silly.
Well, did you at least have some dinner to get a good base down?
I did. Shit, that was the reason I was over there. It was a belated birthday thing, and had a nice dinner, and then boy, did the drinks start flowing.
Yeah. Here's the weird thing. You've known me for quite a while, and I'm not a huge drinker. You know that.
Right.
I'll have a few.
Go ahead.
I'll have a few. I'm not much of a big drinker.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm hanging out with an unmentionable band that drinks Jack and Coke.
Yeah. Warrant?
Yeah. And I have some Jack and Coke.
Yeah.
I never feel it.
Well, it's because you don't drink a lot of it.
Well, it's still, but I mean, I've had a fair share, and even in the amount that I've had, I just don't feel it. It just doesn't affect me the way like vodka does.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You probably just are one of those. You're like for me, my alcohol that I can drink all day long and not even get a buzz is gin. I can drink a whole bottle of gin and not even get buzzed.
Right.
There's certain alcohols for certain people that don't really hit them hard.
Sure.
Now, whiskey kicks my ass. I mean, and for the longest time, I didn't drink whiskey because it always made me violent. But Kelly sort of fixed that.
Right.
That's about all I drink with her is whiskey.
Right.
So.
Well, when I'm having a few Jack and Cokes.
Yeah,
they're mixed pretty strong. They're probably like a 60% Jack and 40% Coke.
Sure.
And have like 3 or 4 of those in an evening, which that's a lot for me because
yeah.
And even after that many, I don't even feel so much as a buzz.
You got to go for like 3 an hour.
Oh, well.
Once you start 3 an hour, then you'll start feeling them.
Right.
3 an hour and mix in some shots in between, you'll feel them. Trust me.
Sure. Well, I don't drink to get drunk. I drink because it's more of a social thing, and it's just sort of like a festive thing, and just kind of like being in the moment.
Yeah.
But to get drunk or get obliterated, that's never the goal, nor is it anything I really want to, get involved with.
Yeah. Well, I do. I love being drunk. I'm not gonna lie. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the feeling, and it's worth the feeling of shit the next day.
All right.
For the up of it. It's fine with me.
I'll just take your word for it.
Everybody's different, For
Sure.
you, I'm going to guess one of the biggest things for you is you don't want that next day problem.
Probably not.
And me, I don't care. When I know I'm going to drink heavy, it's a 2-day thing.
Sure.
I know that it's going to be a big party time going in, and I know the next day is going to be brutal. and I weigh those options, and every once in a while I take them.
Sure.
Last night was the first time I've drank, wow, like hard in probably 2 months, two or 3 months.
Well, I mean, the last couple of weeks you've been, kind of under the weather. So, so for you to just finally recover from that, hell, we missed the show last week because of your being ill, and then this week you're like tying one on.
Well, got to die of something. Might as well be alcohol poisoning.
Sure. Well, we obviously are back tonight, and we've got things and topics to cover. And coming up in about 25 minutes, I had spoken with Eric Braverman.
All right.
And he wants to come on at the top of the hour for a few minutes to talk about the 4th anniversary of Heavy Metal Television and the festivities that will be taking place out in Mesa, Arizona next Saturday, which I'll be a part of. Yeah. And perhaps you'll be a part of too via video link.
I might jump in for a minute.
So we'll see how that works out. So Erica's going to call and tell us what's up with that.
Okay.
And then you did an interview with Philip this week.
Yes.
That you feel is worthy bringing to the show, since we don't really do many interviews on the show or do any pre-records or anything like that anymore. But every now and again, something is, it just can't wait.
Yeah, well, this one, it was not meant to be, as you'll hear. It was not meant to dwell on the bullshit from earlier this year. But Phil went there, so I went there with him.
Right.
And so we can get it from his mouth, what he feels and where he's at with the whole thing. So I figured the fans would want to hear that.
Sure, absolutely. And then, of course, not to beat a dead horse, but you've been inundated this week with Don Dawkins said.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that.
I was with the boys last Friday.
Yes.
And I got firsthand information as to what the situation was and the fallout from it and their thoughts at the time. This was before it even hit the internet.
Okay.
So we were already talking. The only reason I knew about it is because you sent me that Facebook rant from some guy and somebody forwarded that to you.
Right.
And of course, I was just like, what the hell happened? And I'll tell that story, about what the guys had to say about that whole situation. But of course, you get a few people on the internet and it's just like, what a dick, man.
Well, he's a dick.
Yeah.
Come on. He's an asshole. Biggest asshole we've ever met.
Sure.
See, you guys are taking his side already, man.
Yeah, really. So anyway, I'll tell what I know about that situation.
All right. Well, I know nothing about it other than what you've told me. So
right, but
I'm an innocent bystander for everybody that keeps emailing me. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. We're apparently this is the Dawkins Authority station.
Well, it's the one that does still talk about Dawkins, so I would imagine so.
So anyway, I'll tell you what I was told last week.
Okay.
And then I went to the show, and apparently I was spotted.
Oh, look at you!
I was spotted, so that was kind of funny, and I'll talk about that a little bit.
All right.
And let's see what else is going on.
Supposed to call in tonight too. Later.
Who's that?
Scribble.
Yeah, well, I was getting to that.
Oh, okay.
Our fan Scribble, who provided us with the CMS rap as well as the Megadeth spoof rather.
Right.
He has a new record.
Yeah.
Is it out yet, or is it coming?
It is out.
Oh,
it's
it is.
Out, and it's actually top 100 on iTunes.
Oh, very nice.
It's actually selling fairly well, so good for him.
All right. So Scribble is going to call in tonight and be a part of the show and talk about his musical ventures.
Yes.
And he's a pretty talented guy. He would be the equivalent to a Sheldon Tarsha in the rap world.
Yeah, I would say so.
He does all his own stuff, writes his own music, produces, records, the whole thing.
Does his own shit, baby.
Yep. So we'll talk to Scribble, who's obviously a fan, but yet he likes the rap.
Yep.
So, and Chris is down with that because he's down with everything.
Yeah, I like his album is called Drug Spun Funk. And it's pretty fun. It's definitely a fun album.
All right, very cool. So we'll hear a little bit of that tonight and find out get a little background on Scribble. Of course, Scribble has made himself known here on the Classic Metal Show with some of his classic letters, emails into us.
Sure.
What a fan he is of the show.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk to him tonight. So we got a lot of things going on. So if you are listening to the Classic Metal Show live via the Spreaker, which is our favorite outlet for our podcasts,
yes,
you can join us. We're live in a chat room. We don't use the Spreaker chat, if that's what you want to call it. But we are live. We do have our own chat room, which is chatandkill.com, chatandkill.com. So if you're listening to us via the Spreaker Live, jump on over, chatandkill.com, be a part of the show. Also, same with the folks who listen to us live on Uncontrolled Noise, our only affiliate.
Yes.
So we're 1 week in now. How did the CMS archive shows go over? That started on Monday, right?
That started on Monday, and I honestly have no idea.
All right. Okay.
I literally talked to Corey for the first time, I think, this week today, and I didn't talk to him about that. Literally was testing some new streams that he put in.
Sure.
So we will have to ask him. So, Corey, you could text me the answer to that since I know you're listening.
Or Corey can call in the show and tell us by, himself.
Yeah, call in, Corey, 800-497-5891.
There you go.
Lucky.
Yeah. So you can tell the kids all about the new venture of the CMS archive shows.
CMS OD.
Well, what does OD stand for?
Well, it could be overdose, or it could be on demand. One or the other.
But is it on demand though?
Yeah.
How does that work?
If you go to he's playing it live, or not live.
Well, he streams it at a certain time. But then on Fridays,
it is available from his website to download.
Okay.
With the music, with everything legally. He has a blanket license for everything on his website.
All right.
So if you go to his website, uncontrollednoise.com,
okay,
on Fridays, or if you just go there once and you copy the RSS feed and add it to your iTunes or whatever, it'll download by itself weekly as like any other podcast.
All right.
So it's set up and it's ready to rock.
Well, if I had more time to explore that kind of stuff, I guess I would have known that answer, but I just don't have the time in the week to sit there and check out everything. There was a time where I used to scope out the the music websites, be it
Sure.
Brave Words or Blabbermouth or Loudwire and things like that, but I haven't had a lot of time to even sit there and scroll through those sites and see what's going on. I think I looked at Blabbermouth today, and I noticed that they picked up the Udo Dirkschneider interview
from us.
Yes.
I did not even notice that.
I tweeted it out today. I tweeted it.
See, I was not even looking at social media at all today.
Yeah. See, I tweeted it, and I put the hashtag CMS feedback.
Right. Dude, this is going to sound like a really stupid question, but who did that interview?
You did.
Me?
No, you did it.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
A couple weeks ago, you did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. But, I was surprised. I was scrolling through Blabbermouth today, and I saw that Udo Dirkschneider says, yada, 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 and then it's on the latest edition of the Classic Metal Show.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Well, look at the CMS feedback. I tweeted that and put the hashtag in, so it's up on our feed.
Feed?
Yeah.
Well, let's look. Let me click that link here and see what we got here. What did he say? Oh, that line. Yeah, I remember that. Okay. Hey, good. Whatever. We'll take the hits.
I like it.
Yeah, I love it. It's fine with me.
I thought, slow news day, you're picking up our interviews?
Well, I guess Udo's still a big name, right?
Yeah, well, it's not that Udo isn't a big name. It's fun. I find it interesting that Blabbermouth keeps up with what we do.
Yeah. Well, he might. Maybe he subscribes to the podcast.
He could, for all I know, he could. He might have it on on his download feed.
Yeah, probably does. Otherwise, how would he know?
That's got to be that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being barraged with as many stories and links and interviews and things. I don't know the inner workings of Blabbermouth. But that to me sounds like, you would definitely need at least a couple of people to man that thing.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's I don't know how he does it, but he does seem to have it ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, he has all the, of course there's so many bands out there and so many stories and so many this and so many that, and he's just, that thing is just updated all the time.
Yeah, it is.
Day and night.
Yep.
So
he's either real dedicated and wealthy where he doesn't have to work a job, or he's got a team of 20 doing it.
Yeah.
What's funny is his guy that does all the CD reviews was he got his start with the mighty Music's Bottom Line.
Oh, nice. Who's that?
Ray Van Horn. Ray was a writer for Bottom Line at one point.
Is he a local Cleveland guy?
I don't actually know.
Well, how did you come across him?
He emailed me and asked me about review. You know how I used to run Bottom Line. Somebody emailed me and said, "Hey, can I review stuff?" I sent him discs. I said, "Here, review these," and if they were good, then I used them.
Well, what I guess my question is that Bottom Line was not, the internet as far as news and whatnot was not huge at the time you owned Bottom Line. Mm-hmm. So how did he find out about Bottom Line unless he was like a local guy?
Yeah, he must have been local. I just don't remember. But yeah, he probably was local. Maybe he still is. I don't know.
It's funny how you remember all the slanted pussy that you got in Korea, but you can't remember anything about an entity that you started.
Well, the slanted pussy was more interesting.
I remember every hair on that slanted pussy, but I can't remember how I even got Bottom Line started.
Yeah, that was definitely more interesting than stupid Music's Bottom Line.
Apparently. I sit there and think about your situation at that time.
Yeah,
and the fact the knowing a little inside of how the former significant other felt about the content of a Music's Bottom Line, be it the music or the concerts or the language or anything, and the fact that you toiled away at that, day in, day out.
Oh, yeah.
And was able to do that for as long as you did and not end up killing somebody.
Well, believe me, it was not there wasn't much in my life that was fun at that point. That's about all I can say on that. There was not a whole lot of support.
Do you think, aside from the fact that you were still kind of in your recovery phase from your accident, mm-hmm. And the fact that you were more or less using it for therapy, mm-hmm. do you think that starting Music's Bottom Line, on your own, and I understand the premise of that I can do this better than Scene Magazine,
right? Or
I could be more honest or better mm-hmm. reporting or whatever the case may be. But do you, looking back, do you think that maybe you started Bottom Line and immersed yourself in it just to get away from the house situation?
I don't know. I don't think so. I just was looking to do something.
Yeah.
I was bored is really what it was. I was so fucking bored being home. I was home for 4 years after the accident.
Sure.
And I was bored, and me being me, I mean, you know how I am. I started with Scene, and within 6 months of doing Scene, I was like, this sucks. I'm only getting like 4 articles a week, which was a lot for a writer, but was not enough for me.
Right.
So then I wanted to do more. And that's when I met this guy, Scotty Campana, out in Lorraine, who had like a record label, and he wanted to start a paper, and he wanted to do all this different shit. And he financed the beginnings of Music's Bottom Line, but he let me just do whatever I wanted with it.
Right.
So I did. You remember those days when I wasn't Chris Aiken? The only time I've ever used a pseudonym when I was Scott Sisson.
Sure.
because I still was writing for Scene.
Right.
And in the early days, that was the only way I could get music, was I would get it from Scene, but then I would review it for Bottom Line. That was the only way I could get tunes.
Sure.
I had to use the pseudonym or the pseudonym, and then that's just how it grew. And then at some point, Scotty Campana just was like, I don't want to do the paper anymore. And I was like, well, I'll take it and just keep going.
Sure.
And I did for 5 more years or whatever.
Yeah.
It ran 6 years?
Yeah, you basically came in on the very tail end of print media.
Yeah. Yeah, I got out of that at the right time.
Because right at 2000 or 2001, when the internet was really starting to come on strong, print media was really starting to, take a back seat to it, and the time and the expense and the efforts and, you're lucky you had some dedicated people,
Sure.
me being one of them, and Chuck and Randy and, all the guys who contributed to picking up the paper from the printers and distributing it, and everybody coming getting their bundle and taking it to their respective stores in their areas.
I know, it was crazy.
Everybody kind of chipped in to make it happen,
It was a dirt cheap grassroots effort, to say the least. But what I'm most happy with about that thing, well, 2 things really. One, it really did start giving Scene a run for its money.
Sure, it did.
Because when we would put, you remember, dude, you'd put it out, and the next day they'd be gone.
Yeah, they would.
No matter how many you put out, where you put them, they'd be gone.
Right.
People would grab it, and that was cool. And on the bigger scope, everything that I've done since has been a product of that, really.
Right.
Professionally, as far as the writing books, and, I learned to write with Bottom Line. That's where I learned that I had this skill to write was with the paper.
Right.
And, true story about, I have my IT business, which was spawned from the first website I ever did was Music's Bottom Line, because I was paying a guy $1,500 a month to do it.
Sure.
$1,500 a month to do fucking the Bottom Line layout. And at some point I was like, well, fuck, if I can lay out a paper, I can lay out a website. I just got to figure out how.
Right.
So I taught myself how to do it with Bottom Line, and then the first site I did was the Classic Metal Show.
Sure.
Was the first site that I actually did, because you had remember you had all those little graphic things?
Well, I didn't do the site. I didn't have anybody to do it aside from Andy, and she just volunteered, and she was like you, she was just learning.
Yeah, she was learning
how to do it.
Yeah, I'm not shitting on her. I'm just saying when we started, it was like, well, this looks like not good.
Yeah, that was 1998.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And then we really improved it several iterations. It's pretty good now. I don't think it's the best that it's ever been right now, but it's okay.
I liked it. I liked it when you had the Flash component to it.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. But then because the internet doesn't pick up the keywords in Flash.
Right, and phones won't display it now.
Exactly. So but it looked cool though.
Yeah, that site was great.
Yeah, that you had the Rex logo, and it sort of like glowed at you.
Yeah,
and that was pretty cool.
That was by far the best that we ever did.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad now. Now we have so much other bullshit on it. All these fucking podcasts and podcast locations and Twitter and Facebook and my Twitter and your Twitter and all this shit on the site. There's so much stuff now.
Sure.
That I set it up to be easy to maintain.
Well, the thing is when you have real gigs, it's hard to maintain something that's just kind of a pastime.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But it does the trick for what we need for now.
Sure, and
you certainly can find any number of ways to hear the show, which is ultimately why it's there. So, it is what it is. But yeah, I learned all these little skills that have kept the roof over my head with
Sure.
Music's Bottom Line.
Right.
So I don't know that it was so much of a, well, this at least gets me away from Georgetta thing. But,
I didn't bring up any names.
I'll say the name. I legally can say the name, especially when I'm not saying anything negative.
How did you even know I was talking about her?
Well, because you said the person that used to live here. That narrows it down.
Well, you had 3 other people living in that house, too.
Yeah, but I didn't. Never mind. No, I think it was just more. I think it was. Look, I'll be the first one to say, if I had a failing as a married guy, it was that I did not give near enough attention to the relationship because I wanted to do a bunch of other shit.
Sure, absolutely. I think that is definitely the one of the biggest components in my life. That I learned very, very early on.
Yeah.
That married life was never going to be for me ever.
Well, I'm going to have to be careful when I talk about this to make sure that I don't go into the wrong places. When I originally thought about getting married and originally proposed to get married, I wasn't a really ambitious person.
Yeah.
I was, okay, I'm going to do my fucking job and then I'm going to come home. So in theory, it sort of made sense. I'll come home and I'll have the wife and I'll live like a married guy,
Sure.
Come home and we'll do stuff together and we'll take the vacation together and we'll blah, 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 right? All those different things. But then after the accident, I wanted to be way more ambitious than I stopped being a lazy bum and I wanted to do shit and I wanted to accomplish things and I wanted my own business more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Once that all started, I got very selfish. I'll be the first one to say that I can't blame her for being pissed off that I was fucking not focused on the family, because I'll be the first one to admit that I wasn't.
Sure.
I was way more focused on making music's bottom line hit, becoming a radio star with the fucking WMMS, I was doing my day job just to do my day job, but the ones I cared about was the radio show. Sure. and the paper.
I agree.
And so that's where that kind of got to. So yeah, I mean, on that level, I was definitely a fail as a husband, but is what it is.
Sure.
In the end, the way things worked out, she threw me to the curb, and guess what? Now I get to do the things that I want to uninhibited.
There you go.